Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good. We certainly pray that you are experiencing a time of peace in your life. For peace is available, but it's really only through Jesus Christ that we can get the pure peace that he extends to each one of us. We welcome you to the Spice of Life variety show. We bring you greetings from the West Angeles Church of God in Christ, where Bishop Charles C. Blake and Mrs. May L. Blake serve as our leaders. We want you to know that we love you, love you, love you. And again, welcome to the Spice of Life variety show. Grab your pen, your paper, and jot down our contact information. We would love to hear from you. Your prayer requests, your show comments. Want to contact our guests? We're open to receive that from you via our email address, fax, phone call, whatever the case may be. Pamela Well.
Dr. Lewis, how you doing today?
Girl, I'm doing well.
Are you enjoying the sunshine?
I'm enjoying the sunshine.
I know you are.
Spring and summer, that's my time.
You know, we enjoy sports. And when we think of sports, we think of the different sports, the athletes.
Okay.
When they become pros, then we even think about salaries.
Whoa.
When they get injured, we think about doctors. We think about their physical therapists. But there's something that I don't know about, and we're going to learn about today.
Okay.
So the topic is, what? Sports psychology?
Girl, that was my, wait a minute, that's exactly, that was my
hard.
Exactly. What? And it's the same thing I said when I met our distinguished guest. I said, what? Sports psychology, what is that?
Okay, we're going to hear about that.
So see, we're not alone, Pamela, because I know you don't know either, guest, but we're going to introduce you to our special guest, Dr. Frank Little, who is a sports psychology, and we're going to all find out together exactly what is sports psychology. Welcome, Dr. Little. Welcome to our show.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Pleasure to be here. I always like to get involved with things that connected to the church.
Well, very good. We're happy to have you. Else, we are all inquiring minds want to know, what is sports psychology?
Well, in a nutshell, competing is 99.9% mental. People think it's just physical, but it's more mental than physical. And sports psychologist, he teaches people to win. And I have a program called Gaining the Competitive Edge.
Okay.
Which, when you know, in any sport, you see basketball, you see Mike make some shots and people think it's impossible, but he has to have the mindset at that point in time and have the confidence in himself and not think about missing the shot. And I'm Mike. When I said Mike, I meant Michael Jordan. I should have said the last name. And people says, "Oh, he's so natural. It is just he's so talented." No, it's training. You have to train the mind as well as the body, and that's what sports psychology is. It trains the mind to see solutions and to win, and not to be on the negative side and wondering, "Oh, I don't know if I can do this. The weather's bad. This is happening. That is that." No, you focus on you, and your mind is now in control of your body. Your mind tells your body what to do, which is a principle in life, because most times your flesh, your body tells your mind what to do. But an elite athlete has to, regardless of the conditions, the situation, the circumstances, his mind has to prepare his body to compete, especially let's say track and field, in 10 seconds. That's a 100-meter run, and he has to have the mindset to do everything right. He has to get the start right. He has to react to the gun. He has to get his drive, if it's 100 meters, drive phase. He has to come up. He has to stay relaxed, not tighten, and all that's mental. It's not physical. And of course, you require some talent physically as well to get to a certain level. But when you get to that level, it's very, very competitive. We take, like, for instance, state high school final. The 8 people, they're all the best.
Right.
You go to the like the nationals, USA Track and Field Nationals. The 8 people that have reached the finalists are all the best. You go to the Olympics. The 8 people that line up are the best in the world. Well, how are you going to be the best in of the best mentally?
Oh, wow.
And that's where you have to have the edge. And that's what sports psychology is all about. And that's what they teach you, to get that edge.
How popular, or how long has this?
It's been a while. It's been around a while. It's not as popular as because you see it in the top universities. The universities that you see are winning a lot. They have sports psychologists on staff. UCLA has them. USC has them, and different institutions they have them. They're just not, because more so the coaches get the glory.
Okay, they're more in-house, and the coaches are external.
And so, but at some point in time, a sports psychologist has to deal with some issues that the individual is going through at certain times in their life to get them prepared for the game or the race or whatever. And I have my own business, so I do it outside of that environment. I do it personally, so I deal with all the sports.
How long have you been a sports psychologist?
30 years. First you have to be a clinical psychologist first, and then you change. I've done that, and then you decide. And then I decided to go into sports psychology because I'm into track and field. I was also an athlete, and so the transition was natural.
Oh, okay, that's right.
What was your? You were personally in track and field, or which?
Yes.
Okay, which event did you?
I ran 100 from the 100 to the 400.
Oh, okay, so you're quite fast then.
Used to be. I try to stay in shape.
Father time is catching up with all of us, huh?
Yes,
So really and
exactly.
truly, it's really mind over matters,
Mind
really
over
what you're
matter.
teaching.
And one of the things that I learned that individually, when I was competing, I was very good at competing.
Okay.
And I had certain keys that I keyed into myself.
Okay.
So in order to make me to win. And so understanding that, then I just transferred it to.
Well, I know it's never a dull moment then, huh?
No.
Because you really get an opportunity to train with ongoing athletes,
Yes.
those who
Yes,
will.
elite athletes, professional athletes, all the time. Basketball, football, tennis, track and field, every sport.
Anything competitive. Okay.
Would you find that the same principles basically stretches across all sports, or
Yes,
they vary?
Yes, no, the principle is the same. It might be a little slightly different in team sports, but it's the same principle. Especially, let's use football. What makes a team great is the individual doing what he is supposed to do
Okay.
at that given point in time.
Okay.
So if he has a lapse and he misses a block, it affects
How
the
many
chain
others?
reaction.
Right.
So it's still, again, the individual
Right.
mentally aware and focusing on what he has to do at that point in time, which is the same as a race, same as in volleyball, hitting the ball, or play. If the guy's the placer who places the shot, he has to know at that point in time, because it's seconds.
Okay.
It's seconds. Basketball, they stand in the sideline and the coach diagrams the plan, and you get the ball and you have 2 seconds or one to make that shot. And so he has to be in the zone. He has to be ready, and that's mental.
Wow. Have you always desired to be in the psychology field?
Yes, I started studying psychology since I was about 12 years old.
Really?
My dad figured out that that's the way I should go.
At age 12.
He was an accountant, and I didn't have the head for math.
Figure so.
So he gave me a book on Freud to read, and that was it.
Really?
Oh.
Anyone else in your family in the psychology?
Yeah, my oldest daughter, she's in the. She has a PhD as well.
Really?
She's a professor at the university, and she does sports science.
Oh, sports science. Now, was she ever personally involved in sports?
Yeah, she was a track athlete. She
Really?
ran track for University of San Diego.
Okay.
And she went. She won the NCAA 100 and 200.
So I mean, she's just a typical chip off the.
Just like
That's what they say. That's what they say.
Wow. So she was athlete and also in the field.
Same field.
I mean, what more could you want?
Well, yeah, I tell you what more I wanted, and it came true some years ago, actually 2000. I always had a dream of doing a seminar with my daughter,
Okay.
and that came through in the year 2000. And we both conducted a seminar together, and that was it.
I was just saying, that was just awesome, huh?
Yes.
You could have just gone on.
Yes.
So basically then, as far as the sports psychology, it's just a blend over from the clinical psychology.
Right.
And are there additional classes or
Yes.
that you need to take?
You have to understand, exercise physiology and all those other things that you have to understand about practical application of the sport in general.
Okay.
But it's not that much different. It's just that instead of dealing with people that are not well, you're dealing with people that want to do something.
So then your expertise would help someone like in our category.
Oh yeah, everybody.
It doesn't matter about
doesn't
the
matter
age.
if you're a
How
pro
young?
athlete or not, if you're a sedentary person, average Joe. Oh yeah, because the mind, the Bible is very specific with that. You read the scriptures, it focuses on the mind a lot, because the mind controls what the body, the mind interprets what you read. The mind makes a decision as to which way you're going to go, whether you're going to submit or you're going to react or you're going to listen. It's all in the mind. So the mind is the gateway, that things come in, and you have to train the mind to be not to be negative about problems, but to look for solutions. Not to deal with it, just see the problem, but see the solution to the problem. And to do that, it's the same thing in sports. To do that, you have to train the mind to do that. So it's across the board. I deal with athletes because, it's very lucrative for one thing, and they need it.
He's honest. At least he's honest. The truth about it. Respect you for that one now.
And they really need it. Because most times, I would say 99% of the time that athletes lose races is because of their mental capacity. They did not do certain things, certain time in the race. They made mental mistakes, not physical mistakes. They made mental mistakes.
Wow, that's just awesome. Now, while we know that it varies with different individuals with their makeup and etc., how long would you work with an individual if you can?
Well, my program has 8 sessions, and then I do like imagery and visualization.
Okay.
And sometimes I don't remember them.
Okay.
Self-confidence, optimism, high energy, effortless, alertness, focus, control, and conditioned stimuli. And you visualize a certain image. For instance, if you want to relax, you can go up in the mountains, in the lake, and then you put yourself in that picture, and you could see yourself running, diving, whatever it is, and you focus there, and you see, and then you see yourself doing certain things, and then you go from there. That's where I start, because you have to have a mental picture of yourself in a certain environment, and the athlete picks the environment where they feel it's more conducive to their relaxation and their well-being and their ability to produce at 100% efficiency. And then we go through these different things. Self-confidence. And one of the principles of self-confidence is this enables you to transfer potentially threatening or undesirable situations into challenges and to remain calm and poised when adverse circumstances might otherwise evoke panic, anxiety, or tension. Because you can't control people or the environment,
Right.
but you can control how you respond to people
Exactly.
or the environment.
Exactly.
For instance, if you have to compete and the weather's bad, it was a storm or whatever, if you're not trained properly, you allow the conditions to affect your mind
Wow.
Okay.
before you compete, as
Okay.
opposed to competing regardless of what happened.
Okay.
You know, and being able to train your mind to focus and push aside the things that are adverse.
Okay.
It doesn't come over. I mean, if you don't do it like 6 months in the year, and then you get to the meet, whether it's a basketball or whatever, and then decide to do it, doesn't work that way. As you know, we are trained
Yes.
individuals.
Yes.
We're trained to respond a certain way.
Right.
And this is one of the reasons why, you know, in raising children, I deal with children as well. I deal with not only adults, I deal with children. I always tell parents, what you allow a child to get into their soul is what they're going to become. And if you want a child to go in a certain direction, you have to focus, because that's what that's what we do. See, we react, you know, unconditionally at times. It's just, you know, to situations, to stimuli, we just react. Well, we think that the reaction is just a reaction, but no, it's a trained response to something that happened along our lives that makes us react in that way. You know.
That's deep. Do you find more male or females that you work with?
Both. And then of course females are a little bit different. And you know, but as we know, the female species is different than the male. And sometimes it needs you have to change. You know, I don't approach women the same way I approach men. And but I always tell a female person, I says, when you start competing, you're now an athlete, and you can't think of yourself as a woman. Think of yourself as an athlete. Because then you know, if you start thinking, then you start you want the advantages, I would say, that goes along with a woman. In other words, you want to be treated a certain way, you want to have more compassion, but as an athlete you can't do that, because that girl next to you is
She wants to win.
She wants to win. So you have to think as an athlete. And then when I counsel you and I teach you, I'm teaching you as an athlete and not concerned about gender. At the same time, I have to be wise enough to know there's certain things that are indicative to a woman at certain points, at certain times, and work with that as well.
Well, you know what? You're the counterpart to me as a parent. When my boys, when my sons were boys and they played competitive ball and team sports, and it will happen to be a girl out there. Play her like a boy. Don't play her like no girl. She's on the opposing team. Play her like a boy. And so that's just really what you're saying. No, she's no longer a female. She's an athlete.
And you know, it's funny that you said that, because the top women train with the boys.
Yeah, that's what I
And
think
we go back
should
as
do.
far as Ashford. What's Ashford's first name? She was an Olympian, and all the time, Evelyn Ashford.
Evelyn.
Okay.
She trained with guys.
Okay.
And she was very fast.
Yeah.
So you were
Play
right when you
her
didn't know.
like a boy. Don't have any mercy. Now, you're also an Olympic coach. How long have you been involved with the Olympics?
For quite a while. Since 1972 as an athlete, then in 1984 as an official, and then in 1988 as a coach. I coached Alice Brown, Donna Mayhew. Also in 1992, Donna Mayhew. In 1996, I'm half Portuguese. My mother's Portuguese.
Okay.
And as a result, I coached I was the head coach for the Cape Verde team from Africa. And in the 96 Olympics, so I marched under the Cape Verde flag for the 96 Olympics. And then in 2000, I was also a coach. And then in 2004, I had the #1 800-meter person, Kadivus Robinson. I coached him to the Olympics, and I was in the Olympics at Athens again. So, and then I'm thinking, I don't know, I might be in Beijing.
Well, we definitely need to bother you. And, I mean, you definitely paid your dues. Now, who influenced your life? And I know that sports is a talent, but was anyone else so involved with talents before you in your family?
My dad. What my dad did was, I have a great dad. He's 90 years old.
Wow.
He still walks 5 miles every day and rides his bike.
Puts us to shame. Oh my God.
2 miles and
My dad was he was an athlete, and I think how I started was at 2 years old. He would take me with him, sit me on the bleachers, and give me a banana. And you know that I still remember it at my age. And I'd watch him work out.
Okay.
And then, so he would always take me with him. I was the oldest boy. And my sister's 7 years younger than I am. So I had him to myself for 7 years. So for 7 years, I went with him wherever he went. But the thing that really changed it was, or not changed it, but developed it, was he was very fast. And I said to him when I was about 14 or 15, I says, Dad, I can spot you 10 meters and beat you in 100. And he said, no, there's no way. I says, yeah, I can. So where we lived, I was called Speedy in the neighborhood. So so it got out that we were going to have this race, and all the neighbors came out. And a block was like 100 meters. So they lied. They had bets going and this and that. So he said to me, he says, if you beat me, I'm going to hang up my shoes. And I said, okay. Wow. So I spotted him 10 meters and I beat it. And so he hung up his shoes. He stopped competing. And he says to me, he says, what do you want to do? I says, Dad, I want to make it to the Olympics. He says, okay. And he went and hired me a coach. And the rest was history. So my dad, was very, very influential.
Well, it goes back to what you said earlier, though. What you want the child to do, set it in front of them. And from 2 years old, that's what you came up watching him work out. And I heard that little male ego involved. If you beat me, I'm hanging up my boots. That's that little male competition.
That's right. And my dad was so supportive. If I got hurt, he would spend time with me, work and massaging, this and that. And one time he thought I won the race, and the official said no, and he was arguing with such intensity that they had to order him out. The security had to take him out. But those are moments that you kind of, you feel good about your dad standing up for you. Yeah, he's right in your corner. And he said, no, my son won. But things like that you remember, and but that's what led me in that direction.
What tips would you render or give for people over 50?
Well, the first thing is understand that you're over 50.
Okay.
And understand that losing weight or being in condition is a process. Okay. It doesn't happen overnight. And the first thing that you have to be aware of is how you eat. Okay. Because at that age, it has a lot to do with your metabolism. As you get older, your metabolism slows down. And a lot of people think that if I don't eat, I'm going to lose weight. No, if you don't eat, your metabolism really slows down, and it holds on to the fat because it's survival. Your body's built on a survival basis. Okay. So you have to learn to eat at a certain time, small meals, high protein, not as much carbs, and not eat at night. Because as you know, when you eat at night, you go to bed.
Sleep.
So this is why it's called breakfast. You're actually breaking the fast. But if you're not breaking the fast, you're not fasting. Okay. So I would suggest with a person that's over 50 and want to lose some weight, the first thing is your diet, and it's sensible. You don't have to go extreme. All these commercials that you see don't work.
Okay.
And then try not to eat after 6, and of course, like I said, it's a process. You may start at 8. Okay. Then you cut back to 7:30, then to 7, then to 6. And if you get a little hungry, you drink, a shake or a health drink or water. The best is water, of course. And if you really have to eat a salad, but try to stay away from food at night because that's when you gain the weight. And make the most important meal of the day breakfast.
Okay.
Not skipping breakfast and eating lunch and dinner.
Okay.
That's the American way. And that's why we have more overweight people in America, because in Europe, I travel a lot because when I'm in the circuit. And breakfast is the more, this is why they stay, if you, certain countries, they're very slim, because breakfast is the important meal, and breakfast sets the tone, because if you eat breakfast, you're not as hungry at lunch.
That's right.
And if you eat lunch, you're not as hungry
for dinner.
But if you don't eat breakfast, you're back, you know.
Starved.
That's
Right.
So, and then have, you know, being a woman, and you ask the question as a woman, you know, get some weights, and one of the things with women that are blonde or light skinned is that they have a tendency to suffer from osteoporosis. So you have to do weight bearing exercises. So you get some dumbbells,
2 or 3, how many? 5 pounds?
5 pounds, 7 pounds, 10 pounds, and you work your way up from 5 to 7, and so you stimulate growth in the bones, because as you what the weight bearing does, it stimulates bone marrow.
Okay.
So which means it keeps the bones hard, so that you don't have as many injuries, you know, getting out of bed and stuff like that. And you know, you work certain body parts Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you only have 3 days, you work your upper body, legs, waist. Now sit-ups, you know, most people have a problem here, and it's become a very serious problem, because they just did a study recently, and the study showed that when you have visceral fat around it leads to Alzheimer's disease, because it cuts down the oxygen that's going to the brain, and because right in that area is your diaphragm, and you get oxygen supply from 2 sources, your lungs and your diaphragm. And the diaphragm is the seat of fitness. So the more oxygen you have flowing to the brain, the less chances you have of suffering from Alzheimer's. And this is the latest study that they did. So one of the things about, you know, sit-ups is that something that you have to do every day. And I always tell people the easiest way to do that, when they're watching TV,
Right.
the commercial comes on, just do a couple. You'd be surprised how many sit-ups you would do
In that little time, right?
in that little time. Yeah.
Well, certainly, Dr. Frank Little, it has been very informative being with you. You're really a man of a lot of knowledge, and we're coming down to the last few seconds of our show.
Can I just make one comment?
Yes.
Real quick?
Real quick.
I didn't know we were getting that close, but what I do is also a window to what I'm really about, which is a man of God. And my athletes, I always tell them about Jesus. I tell them about how to live, and I have a captive audience when they come to me, so I'm able to minister to them, because you know, my job is the opening to bring people to me that I can minister to them. So my ministry is also part of that.
That's commendable. That's an important point. To you out there in the audience, what? Sports psychology? Well, we found out what it is. And so take good care of yourself, exercise, and get in there and do what we need to do. We love you. Take care of yourself. God bless you. Thank you, Dr. Little.